Hey y'all, hey, welcome to She Lives and Learns. And today's video is all about getting motivated, but not necessarily being able to stay there. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but this is definitely one for me. So here's what I know for sure. I know that there are a million and one videos out there about how to get motivated. There are some videos out there about how to maybe remain motivated, but I think that we spend a lot more time getting there than we spend digging into how to stay there. As a result, I don't necessarily know that all of us have mastered the skill of remaining motivated or remotivating ourselves when our motivation is waning. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So for the purpose of this video, let's kind of set the stage on where we are. We are people that do our homework. What does that mean? That means that when we decide that we're going to accomplish a goal, then we actually take the time to put in a little thought, a little effort, a little energy into pretty much identifying where it is we're trying to get to and all the things that are necessary that we need to do to get there. In some cases, we may be collecting data. In some cases, we may be doing pre-work. In some cases, we may be setting aside timelines. Whatever the case may be, developing project plans, having to-do lists and checklists, we actually do it. Whatever we do to prepare, we do it and then we've done it and then we're ready for execution. So execution is launch time. We are actually implementing our plan. We're all amped up, we're all motivated, and we are ready to go. So, drum roll please, we start. Somewhere, doesn't matter when. Maybe in the beginning, maybe in the middle, maybe in the end, we falter. If you're anything like me, you almost can't even really describe exactly when the demotivation started. All you know is that you're not putting in the same energy and effort that you were putting in when you began. A lot of days when that happens, we can't even explain why. As a result, we have 3 reasons that might resonate with you about why you can't seem to remain, why I can't seem to remain motivated. So one disclaimer that I want to make before we get started with reason number 1. I am just talking about regular people. I am not working from $1 million bank account. I am not working from a place where I don't have to go to work every day or report to somebody else's job every day. So these are regular people solutions that we're going to invite you to consider in terms of why you cannot stay motivated. So reason number 1. You are walking around on autopilot. Let me explain. So the first thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the man that lives in my head. Don't judge me. He lives there. He takes up space there. We coexist. It's not a problem. Again, I say, don't judge me. So what my little guy likes to do is he gets up in the morning. He takes a shower. He neglects putting on clothes. He walks outside. He continues to walk. That's what he does. I know you guys are trying to figure out what is the little person that lives in my head, don't judge me, and autopilot have in common. Listen, I'll explain. So my little friend is walking up the street right now. He does not have on clothes. He does not have on shoes. He is not accompanied by anyone. Let's say that it is, 35 degrees outside. And it's beginning to rain. So not only is it beginning to rain, but it's a cold rain. And my little guy is just happily walking along without clothes, without shoes. And what's happening is people are beginning to point, right? There's 2 groups of people happening here. There's the group of people that are laughing at him and snickering. And then there's the group of people that are concerned and they would like to assist. And so for the second group of people, they're stopping and they're saying, hey, sir, can we help? Are you trying to get somewhere? Can we take you where you're going? Can we assist you in getting to your destination? And he hunches his shoulders because he doesn't even know what he's doing out there. The first group of people is still just laughing and snickering. The second group of people really are concerned and really want to give him a hand. But because he doesn't know exactly what he's doing and why, then he doesn't even know what to ask for. So I would submit to you that you take that analogy and you parallel it with something that's going on in your life and see if it makes any sense to you. We are walking around on autopilot, doing the same thing we did yesterday with no real explanation about one, why, and two, whether it's serving us. So my little guy is outside. Being naked is not serving him. Not having on shoes, not serving him. But because obviously this is a habit that he has built, he continues to do the same thing over and over and over. However ridiculous he may sound, a lot of us, not to the degree of ridiculousness that that example is, but a lot of us are perpetuating the same things over and over and over again without a real thought about whether it is still serving us, but we're still on autopilot. What that doesn't leave us is room to interject anything new. And if you are able to interject it, then because it's not an intentional consideration that you need to replace some things with things that are not serving you, that currently occupy space in your life, now these two things are competing. Because there's no intentionality in here about what you really should be doing and what really is serving you at this place and stage in your life. So, liking yourself to my little friend that lives in my head, are you allowing autopilot to be the death and destruction of your time, of your future, of your gifts? Are you allowing autopilot to kill all of those things just because you won't give any conscious consideration to what you're really going to do next? Lastly, I want to close out number one by saying this. One of the most eye-opening exercises that I've ever taken part in as it relates to what I was doing in terms of autopilot and how to make space in my life for beginning and continue to be motivated on different things. When I originally went back to school about 2 years ago to do work on my bachelor's. And one of the things that the school required, because it was quite a high number of returning students, was they had us to capture what we did with every hour of every day. So we took a piece of paper and we had to account for all 24 hours of the day. Even if you were sleeping, if you were doing nothing, you had to label what you did with each hour. It was one of the most eye-opening exercises I have ever taken part in. It showed me that probably out of a 24-hour period, I was actually productive, maybe 5 of them. Honestly, it really brought to light how much time in the course of a day I was wasting. So I invite you to try it on for size and then think about what you really want to do about your autopilot problem if you have one. The other thing I'll submit to you is that most of the things we're going to talk about today are really less about being fixed by action and more about being fixed by intentional thought. So hang on to that as we make our way to reason number 2. Okay, number 2. I'm going to have to read it because it's a little bit of a sentence. Your previous struggle-based accomplishments are keeping you anchored to what you did, to what you accomplished the last time. Let me explain. So you've done just enough. You're not on autopilot. And what you've done is you've accomplished a certain amount of things, gotten to a certain level, and you're kind of happy with what you've done, right? You have done enough so that your neighbors kind of look over and they're like, oh, she's done some good things, or oh, he's done some good things. Maybe it's in education, maybe it's in finance, maybe your money's good, maybe you have just enough money to kind of pay your bills and have a little bit left over. Maybe it's position, maybe you have a title and you're like, okay, that kind of feels pretty good. But depending upon how you look at that mentally, then that satisfaction with what you've already accomplished could potentially negatively impact the motivation for the next thing if you don't shift. You've got to pivot now from I'm feeling full of this, right? Because now you kind of want to branch out. Maybe you haven't yet identified your passion or your purpose, but you were moderately successful in this area. Now you got to figure out how to pivot and make room for new initiatives. But your mindset is resting on the laurels of what you've already done. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of contradiction, because I think it creates kind of a war within, right? Where part of you is like, I know I did this, I'm happy about this, but I'm ready to move on to the next thing. And the other part of you is like, Why though? You did this so well and you're still receiving accolades. You're still reaping the benefits of this thing. Why would you want to introduce additional work into the fold? You got to identify. Here's the answer. Identify the contradiction. Identify the push and pull of you, because this will eventually make you frustrated and you don't even really understand why until you think about how this is working, what this dynamic creates within. So the answer to this again is intentionality. Is thinking about what the push and pull is, because this will make you tired and now you've given up and you don't really even know why you're giving up. So be intentional about thinking and being honest with yourself so that you can kind of make sure that you pivot, that you are, it's clean thoughts. It's a clean, okay, I know that this served me well in this season. I know that I'm excited and I'm happy about what I've been able to accomplish, but it's time to move over. Make it a clean transition rather than it being murky and you not putting any thought and effort into what's really happening inside of me. And I need to figure out how to make this transition and make it a smooth transition. Okay, so now we're going to graduate to number 3. Number 3 also excites me. Number 3 is a doozy. Okay, get ready. You're embarrassed. Yep. And you say, Chelsea, how in the world can I be embarrassed about something that's going to inevitably help me? Easily. Let's take me and this YouTube channel. I, for the longest, just was, I don't know, frozen. I had the cameras, I had the lights, I had the new laptop, I had lots and lots of ideas, and I just would not sit down and record a video. And I had to kind of trace it back to, I was embarrassed about failure before I failed. Yeah, everybody just take a laugh about that one because I had to laugh about that one. I was embarrassed about failure before I even failed. I was embarrassed about, I think I was even embarrassed about succeeding, but just doing this in public, in front of everybody, out loud, I was just embarrassed. And I really had to laugh at myself when I identified it. But I'm going to ask you, is that what it is? Like, are you afraid of what people are going to say? Are you embarrassed about something that hasn't even happened? And so what? If you do fail, what was the answer? This is very important, y'all. The answer, and the reason I'm out here now just talking my little head off and not even concerned about it, is because I had to disassociate myself from the thoughts of people and what I wanted to do. Like, I had to think through, why am I doing this? What are the the numerous reasons that I want to get this done? I want to learn how to speak more confidently in front of this camera, in front of people. I want to build a community. I want to attract like minds. I want to, explore the world without leaving my home by meeting people who think similarly to what I think. I want to be able to give people lessons and the benefit of my learning. The great news about me is that I'm not 20 years old. Like, I've been out here working, doing things and accomplishing things, and I have lots and lots and lots to give, and I wanted to be able to give that out the way I wanted to be able to give it. So my reasons for doing this had to be greater than my reasons for not doing it. I also had to say in my mind, here's the deal. I'm gonna do it. Anybody that doesn't appreciate it, anybody that doesn't think I do a good job or doesn't want to tune in, then I'm not for them, and that's okay. I was watching a YouTuber, and I'm gonna forget her name, earlier today. She's a relatively new YouTuber, but she's experiencing a great deal of success, and she's begun to tell people how she got it done. She has a hype video that I absolutely fell in love with, because one of the things she says is like, if you're big, people are gonna dislike you. If you're small, people are gonna dislike you. If your face is made up, they're gonna like you. If your face is not made up, they're gonna dislike you. If you're black, they're gonna like you, dislike you. If you're white, they're gonna like you, dislike you. If you speak eloquently, they're gonna talk about it. If you don't speak eloquently, they're gonna talk about it. If your lighting's good or bad, they're gonna find, like, no matter what you do, there's going to be someone that's going to say something. I'm a sub on a Reddit channel, and I was on a new YouTube Reddit channel, and a guy was like celebrating. He was like, guess what? I got my first hate comment, and he was excited. Like, it was not a big deal. He took it all in stride, and I was like, I can learn a lesson from him. So for those of you that are embarrassed, just don't be. Or if you're embarrassed, do it anyway. Find yourself a community of people that are doing the thing that you want to do, and you guys do it together. There is safety in numbers a lot of days, and there is safety in like minds. For the people that are naysayers, let them naysay. You're out here trying to get it done. They may or may not be. Whatever they're naysaying, it's not your issue, it's theirs. So requires training. You're not going to immediately feel, once you start thinking that way, unfortunately, it's not immediate. You'll get nervous, right? When you post a video, you'll get nervous. When someone makes a comment, you'll get nervous. When you find something in your video you don't like, you'll get nervous. So what? Learn to overlook it and keep it moving. Move to the next video, ma'am, sir. Don't worry about it. That is I'm going to fake it until I make it. After some time, you're engrossed into whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, whether it be take a class or, build something, make something, sell something, whatever it is you're trying to do, just keep doing it. Identify like minds, people that will appreciate your effort, and keep on moving. Figure out who your circle really is and stay in the confines of it while you're getting used to doing your new thing, right? That embarrassment part I think is real. And again, I think we don't face the reality of our thoughts. I think we bury ourselves into the doing, and we don't want to think about what we're thinking. I'm gonna do a video on that, because thinking about your thoughts is very important. But we don't want to think about the fact that I'm putting this down not because I'm tired. I might say I'm tired, but it's not really tired. It's me being embarrassed. It's me being on autopilot. It's me being in conflict with myself, about whether I want to do this and whether I really want to make space for this, or I want to rest on the laurels of my yesterday successes. Okay, so those are the 3 things. Let me recap. 1, reasons you may not be staying motivated. 1, you're on autopilot, and now your new thing is conflicting with your autopilotness. 2, you are in battle with yourself. You are resting on the laurels of your previous successes and not making room for the new initiative. You say you want to do it, but you're not really committing to it because you feel like you're conflicted. You feel like you've done a good thing and this is sufficient. But on the flip, you want to do a new thing. So there's conflict here that you need to take some time and work out. And 3, it's because you're embarrassed. Don't be. Start training yourself to move anyway. That's a training exercise. It doesn't happen overnight. I promise you it does not happen overnight. But I also promise you that if you get up and move anyway, if you start telling yourself, I'm going to work through this embarrassment, then eventually the embarrassment voices become lower and lower and lower. Before long, there'll be a whisper and you won't even be able to hear them at all. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning into She Lives and Learns. We're going to ask you to do 3 things if you would. First of all, go and check out our previous videos. I think our micro lessons give you a little bit to make life a little more tolerant and to make life a little more useful. The second thing we ask you is that you please subscribe so that you receive notification of videos that are to come. Third, and last but not least, we ask that you keep living, meaning do something different, right? Talk to somebody that you wouldn't have necessarily talked to. Learn something that you wouldn't have necessarily learned. And while you're doing a bit more living, then please keep on learning. We thank you again so much for tuning into this video, and we'll see you at the next one.